Hello and welcome back to another episode of our Decades Legacy Challenge. As you can see, we are here with Dean and Edward, and they are just spending some quality time together. Dean is just taking care of the little ones while Siobhan is out getting herself fixed. That's right, she's getting herself fixed. She was like, I am not trying to have any more children. And so she decided to go and have herself fixed. And so she is going and having that procedure taken care of. And while she is out getting that taken care of, Dean is just on baby duty. So he's taking care of Edward and Matteo. And so we are just letting him do the daddy duties. And Joe is obviously here. We are in this episode going to be seeing Edward age up into an infant. And we are also going to be seeing Joe progress his relationship with his girl. So we are probably going to be seeing a wedding in this episode as well. Because he's going to try to propose to her and see if she is going to accept. So hopefully she will accept that proposal, but that is going to be a little bit later on. For now, we are just going to go ahead and let Dean bond with Edward a little bit. As we know, he was really excited to go be another father to little Edward. He was excited about this pregnancy. So he does have a little bit of a different outlook on this child than he did with Matteo. Matteo was unwanted because he was a little young. He was a teenager when Matteo was born. And so he didn't want Matteo, and so they have a little bit of a difficult dynamic. Whereas this child, he's a little bit older. His wants are a little bit different. His outlook is a little bit different, and so he is a little bit more accepting. I am hoping that that isn't going to be a problem moving forward, because I do see now that Matteo is getting a little bit older, he is getting a little bit of a better relationship with Matteo. He is able to bond with him a little bit more, and you will see that he does have a pretty decent relationship with Matteo. Unfortunately, he does still have that in his portfolio as he is an unwanted child, and sometimes when he is around Matteo, he does have that he gets a little bit tense around him, but yeah, he is trying. He really is. So I am hoping that is going to progress. And you can see that she is glad that she's not going to have any more children. It says no more worries. So she's glad that she got that procedure done, and we absolutely love that for her. She's just going to make herself a little bit of a coffee here, and then I'm going to have her go ahead and fix a meal, because the family is going to need to have something to eat in a little bit. So I am going to have her go ahead and get some cooking done, so that whenever people come downstairs and they're needing something to eat, they will have something here that they will have readily available for them to go ahead and munch on. So she's just going to fix a nice little refreshing salad for the family, and then they will be able to go ahead and eat that. So we are just going to have her cook that up here. She doesn't have a whole lot of skill with cooking, as we know, so I am hoping that we can get her cooking skill up a little bit. Joe, as we know, is out in the treehouse. He spends a lot of time out there in the treehouse. He absolutely loves the treehouse, so he's currently outside in the treehouse. But it does look like he's about to come in and just have a little bit of a conversation with Siobhan. I think he is probably going to see how her procedure went. He knew that she was going this morning to have that procedure done. He doesn't necessarily really understand why she's so gung-ho about not having children. And she is like, I'm getting fixed. I don't want any more. This is not happening. And he's like, you know who you remind me of? And she's like, if you say it, I swear I'll hit you. And I think she's probably, not necessarily wanting to really remind Joe of their mother, but he really does think like you remind me of mom. And she's like, I'm not trying to be like mom, but at the end of the day, like, 2 children is plenty, and I don't need any more, and I don't want these things to kind of sneak up on me. And I wasn't necessarily expecting Edward. I wasn't necessarily wanting Edward. I was happy with just Matteo. And she doesn't want any surprises, so she was like, I'm gonna fix that. And Dean's okay with the fact that she went ahead and went and got fixed, because he is of the opinion that 2 children is plenty as well. So I think they're going to be fine with the fact that she went and got herself fixed and they can't have any more children. I think it will be perfectly okay. It is Veterans Day today, and usually they would go and they would pay their respects to their lost family members. I don't know if we will actually make it out to the cemetery today to do that. Because as we know, we do have a full agenda with Edward's birthday, as well as we are going to be inviting Christina over so that Joe can go ahead and propose to her. So I don't know if we'll have time to actually make it out to the cemetery to pay our respects. And it does want to know if Matteo's going to preschool. Yes, he's going to go to preschool. We're going to go ahead and send him off. But it is Veterans Day, and generally we would go and we would pay our respects, but I just don't think we're going to have time today to do that. So we'll probably end up having ourselves a horrible holiday because of that, but it is what it is. So as you can see, Siobhan is taking to really enjoying these coffees. She's made herself another coffee. So she's just going to drink that, and Dean is just having a little bit of the salad that she made. And Siobhan's come in, she's just talking to Joe a little bit, and he's like, I'm really sorry if I upset your feelings by telling you that you reminded me of Mom. I wasn't trying to hurt your feelings. I just don't understand how someone could feel the way you feel. And she's like, I don't want to talk about this. And so she's walked off. She's going to get a little bit of laundry going and do a little bit of housework. And then at some point, I do think she might need to get a little bit of rest. She is feeling a little bit tired. But she does know that things do need to get done in the house. And Joe's like, I'm going to go turn in. I'm going to go have myself a nap in the treehouse. And she's like, okay, you do that. So everyone does seem to be feeling a little bit tired today. I don't know if they just didn't get enough rest the night before. I know she didn't get very much rest because she had gone and had that medical procedure done. So that's why she's kind of feeling tired. So she's going to need to get herself a little bit of a nap in. Hopefully the children will allow her to have a little bit of a nap. But it does seem that Dean is tired as well. He's gone and he's laid himself down for a nap. But considering the fact that Matteo is off to daycare or preschool, and it's just Edward, hopefully we will be able to get ourselves a little bit of a nap in. It looks like she is going to go ahead and cook a little bit more. That way there is food available as far as leftovers go, and then they won't have to worry about anything. But of course, Edward has started crying, so she's like, oh, I've got to come up here and take care of the little one. So she's going to come on upstairs. She's going to take care of Edward, and she's going to just give him his little feed probably, because it's most likely, he is most likely crying because he's needing to be fed. He's like, why did you just pick me up and put me down? I need to be fed. She's like, because I need to go finish this meal that I had started. Ugh. Priorities, Siobhan, priorities. And she's like, this is a priority. Cooking is a priority. And the baby's thinking to himself, yeah, I need to be fed too. Like, that's what I'm screaming about, because I'm hungry. I can't eat the food you're making. I need you to feed me. This poor little baby. But once she finishes this meal, she'll go ahead, she'll run up there, and she will feed Edward and take care of him, hopefully before he gets taken away, because as we know, if you don't feed the babies, social services comes and they take your baby away from you. So let's hope that that isn't the case. But she's like finally taking a little bit of a joy in cooking now that she's kind of learning how to do that. And as you can see, the cat is eating food that is not any good and has gotten sick on the floor. So we are going to have to also give the cat some fresh food and clean up the sickness that the cat just did on the floor. So, I mean, there is a lot of things that Siobhan has to do, and she's thinking, there's so much that needs to be done, but I just want to take a nap. I know you do. I know you do. She learned how to do the gourmet cooking skill. Okay, look at all this food that she's made. I think the family's set. We'll just throw all this in the fridge, and then they'll have leftovers. Go take care of Edward, and then you can feed the cat and get yourself maybe a little bit of a nap, because you desperately need a nap. You really, really do. All right, so Edward's being fed. That's fantastic. We love that. And then you're going to have to go feed Joe's cat. She's like, why do I have to take care of Joe's cat? Why is Joe not taking care of Joe's cat? Because Joe's asleep in the treehouse. I don't know what to tell you. Why don't you go ahead after you take care of the cat, and then you can age up Edward, and we will go ahead and celebrate his birthday. She's like, are you ever going to let me sleep? Eventually. Eventually I will. Poor Edward has a stinky nappy on as well. The poor child. It does look like Dean's coming up to change him, though. So we love that. I love that Dean is so attentive to Edward. He definitely is a good dad. He does a really good job at being a father. I can say that about Dean. Like, he maybe didn't really want to be a father, but even to Matteo, he is a really good father, even though he didn't want to be a dad. So we absolutely love that he's such a good dad. So she's going to go ahead and age Edward up now. Edward is a Libra. We love that. And let's go ahead and age him up. We're going to hop into cast with him and give him his makeover, and then I will show you what he looks like after his makeover. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so this is Edward after his makeover, and these are his outfits that we have put him in. He is absolutely precious. Let's go ahead and jump back into the game now. All right, so we are back in the game, and we are just going to continue on. And I think that Edward is absolutely precious. I can't wait to see how he's going to grow up and how he's going to be with the family and in this family dynamic. He is just the cutest little thing. He got his blonde hair from his dad. And as you can see, Joe has come in to cuddle him and to love on him a little bit and just get to know Edward a little bit now that he's aged up, which is super cute. I do think Joe is really excited to go ahead and kind of start his family. He wants to get engaged to Christina. He wants to marry her. And I think he's thinking about family of his own. Like, he's thinking to himself, like, I would really like to have children. And seeing his sister with her kids has made him realize that he wants children of his own, and he's really good with kids. And so he is thinking of his future, and I'm really excited to see that. I do think that Joe is going to marry Christina, as long as she says yes, of course. And I think that they will probably move out and get a place of their own and start having children, which is going to be fantastic. And I can't wait to start seeing his family expand and us to see all of the things that are going to be able to happen for Joe. And I am so ready to see what his children look like. And I just can't wait for that for him. He's just doing a little bit of tummy time with Edward right now. Edward is not very happy about it. He's like, I don't want to do tummy time. And as you can see, it looks like Rachel is giving us a phone call, so he's just going to do a little bit of a phone call with his sister whenever he is done with Edward here, and just do a little bit of catching up with his sister. They do chat quite frequently, which I love. This is a very, very close family, as we know, and everyone likes to keep in touch, and I absolutely love that everyone is so close and that everyone calls, and they all are so loving and so supportive of each other, and that really, really means a lot to me. So the fact that Rachel calls all the time and she checks in on Joe and she makes sure he's okay, and everyone is constantly kind of in each other's business, maybe is, I don't know, not in each other's business, but you know what I mean. Like, they're always just kind of like, how are you doing? And is everything okay? And what have you got going on? And like, they're just very, very close with one another, and I absolutely love that. So he's invited his girl over so that they can go ahead and spend a little bit of time together. And he is going to, as we know, pop the question. So we're going to have her come on round. He's wanting to head back out to the bloody treehouse again. He is absolutely just enamored with that treehouse. I don't know what it is about it, but he is just in love with that treehouse. But I'm going to have Siobhan come on up here, and she's going to feed little Edward because he is feeling a little bit hungry. So I'll have her go ahead and come up and feed him. And then when she's done with that, maybe she can actually get herself a little bit of rest because she is really feeling tired. And I don't think I've given her a chance to have any kind of rest at all. And so it would be nice for her to be able to get a little bit of rest at some point. But we do want to check in with Joe and Christina and see how they're doing, and I would really like her to, you know, just be able to pop, you know, have the question pop to her so that she can hopefully say yes to that. So he's going to go on in here. He is going to propose to her, and we're going to see how she takes that, and if she says yes, and if she does, we'll go ahead and we'll set that wedding event, and we will let them go ahead and get married, which is going to be really, really exciting. I can't wait for that to take place. Because as we know, Joe is wanting his future to begin. He's watching his, you know, his dad is all happy with Angel, and his sister's happy with Dean, and he's just like, everyone around me is so happy and in love. Their families are thriving. They're having children. And here I am just kind of stuck in a rut. I'm not really doing anything. I am in love with Christina. I want to be with her. I want to marry her. babies with her. And so he's popped the question. She has said yes. They are going to go ahead and be married. And he is super thrilled. Look at him kind of jump around. He's loving life. He's feeling super confident. We love that for him. And so he's like, I'm going to go ahead and make all of the arrangements. And she's like, you are? And he's like, yes, I am. And she's like, really? And he's like, I've got this all under control. And she's like, okay. And he's like, I know just the place. And she's like, what do you mean? And he's like, it's the same place that my parents and my sister got married, but it's a beautiful venue. We can go there and we can get married and everything will be lovely. And she's like, okay, that's what we want to do. And he's like, I think it would be great for us. It's kind of like a family tradition to get married there. And she's like, okay. He's like, to be completely honest, I think majority of the people in my family have gotten married there. It's just like a family thing that we do. And she's like, okay. So as you can see, these two are loving on one another. They're just giving each other a nice kiss and hug here. And they're being really romantic with each other. And he's just telling her how beautiful she looks and that he can't wait to get married to her. And she's like, I'll let you handle everything if that's what you want, Joe. She's like, I just want to be with you. And he's like, okay, let's go ahead and make these plans. So we're going to go ahead and make the wedding plans so that they can be married, because he is ready to start his life with his bride-to-be. So we're going to go ahead and plan this wedding ceremony. And we will just make sure that we have our guests. We are going to obviously have all of our family as guests. So we'll invite our dad and we'll invite our mom. And obviously we'll invite our siblings. And we are going to invite Rebecca. And we will invite Angel. And I think that will do it. And then we are going to go ahead and we're going to pick the ceremony stuff as just cutting the cake, saying our vows, kissing, and maybe throwing some rice, and we can possibly say a speech or something like that. I don't know if we'll meet all of the goals, but we'll go ahead and set them. And then we'll go ahead and set the venue up as the venue place where everyone in the family goes to get married, which is in Willow Creek. It is the warehouse chapel in Willow Creek where everyone in the family has gotten married since the beginning of time, which is like the 1890s. So we have made it here to the wedding ceremony. We're going to go ahead and seat our guests and let them sit down so that they can watch the ceremony. And then we are going to take our Sims that are getting married and we're going to have them go ahead and exchange their vows and kiss, which is going to be super exciting to see them go ahead and exchange their vows and get married. I can't wait to see them go ahead and marry one another. Obviously, she does not have on a proper wedding gown. She did not have a formal gown, but I didn't want to like hop into cast with her and kind of change everything up. So I just left her in what she was wearing as her formal attire. And that's fine. I was like, I'm not even trying to do all of that right now. But this is their lovely little wedding that they're going to have. And he's got himself a little bit of a headache. And she's like, are you okay? And he's like, I'm fine. I just think maybe I might need to eat something. And she's like, really? And he's like, I mean, I'm not really that hungry, but maybe my sugar's low. And she's like, okay, well, do you think we can get through this? And he's like, of course I can. I will exchange my vows with you and spend the rest of my life with you. I can't wait for our lives to begin. And she's like, I can't wait for our lives to begin too. So these two are going to go ahead. They are going to exchange their vows. They're going to promise to love each other for forever and ever, which hopefully they will love each other for forever and ever. As you know, we are in The Sims, and you can't always tell that that is going to be the case, but we are hoping that is going to be the case for them. And it looks like Rebecca has just aged up. Okay, happy birthday, Rebecca. But they are going to go ahead and exchange their rings with one another. He's just going to put a ring on her, which is so great. We love that. And then they are going to exchange their kiss so that they can make this official. So go ahead here and exchange your kisses. Kiss your bride. Come on, Joe. What are you waiting on?
Wabahai?
Gonna laugh.
Taringa.
Come on. She's like, here, let me put your ring on.
Yeah,
He's
Basane.
like, oh, right. I forgot. Oh, they bonked heads. Oh my goodness, they're so clumsy. She's like, let's try that again. Okay. Now they are officially married. So we have now married them. We have Christina Haskins and Joe Haskins, the married couple. They are officially married. We are going to go ahead and move her in to our household, and she is going to be living here with us for now. We are going to let her live with us for a little while until we obviously need to move them out. We won't need to move them out until probably she gets pregnant, and then when she gets pregnant, we'll probably need to move them out into their own place so that they can go ahead and start their little family together. But for now, we're going to just go ahead and let them live together in the family home with us. And let's go down here and we can get the cake and we can let them cut the cake. Look at him. He's trying to go to sleep down here. He's like, I'm exhausted. You've got to let me sleep, Misty. No, you've got to cut the cake. Let me go ahead and order them a cake, and then they can cut the cake. And we can do the cake cutting, and then he can also set out some food for his guests so that everyone can go ahead and have some food for the nice little reception area here, which is going to be great. I'm going to have him go ahead and cut the wedding cake, and then he can go up there and feed a piece of that to his bride, which I think is going to be absolutely great. So he's going to go on up there and feed a piece of that to his bride. We're going to go with him and see him feed her. And then we will have everyone come down and start eating the food and the cake. He is so shattered. Oh my gosh, the poor fella. I feel so bad for him. I really, really do. He's like, how is that? And she's like, it's delicious. You did so great making all of these plans. And he's like, do you think so? And she's like, the venue's great. The cake is fantastic. She's like, you did amazing, Joe. You really did. And he's like, oh, honey, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're happy. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to have everyone come down and grab some cake or grab some food, whichever they prefer. Some Sims are obviously grab cake. Some Sims may grab food. It's just going to depend on kind of what their likes are. But everyone's going to come down. They're going to grab some food, which is great. And they're going to spend some time conversing with one another. And we will just have us a grand old time down here in the wedding reception, which is fabulous. And hopefully Joe won't pass out. I am not guaranteeing that won't happen because he is straight up shattered, okay? He is just really having a hard time. But he is going to spend some time, talking with his family members. His brother is here. Leon has aged up to a teenager now. He aged up with blonde hair. I do have to fix that and turn his hair black because, as we know, he had black hair when he was a child. So he does need a little bit of a makeover. So I do have to give him a bit of a makeover because he hasn't had his makeover quite yet. But he'll chat with Leon a little bit and maybe chat with Rachel. And obviously his mother is here and she's witnessing that, another one of her children are now married, and she's thinking to herself, like, how is it that all of my children are getting married and I'm certainly not old enough to have these grown children getting married and giving me grandkids. And, Annika's just that way, right? Like, she's like, I'm too young for this. Like, I'm a star and I'm all popular and, right? Like, she's so full of herself. But it is what it is. Annika's just that way. But they are certainly old enough to be getting married and having families of their own, and Annika's just going to have to stop being that way. But as you can see, everyone is feeling really, really happy about how this wedding is going and how this reception is going. We've almost met all of the goals. We didn't throw the rice, and no one has really given any speeches right yet. He did ask someone to give a speech, but I don't think anyone really has. So I don't know that I'm going to keep this wedding going for much, much longer just because he really, really is exhausted, and everyone seems to kind of be done eating and mingling and things like that. I mean, they're still mingling, but they're kind of done with the eating and all of that. He's about to wee himself. He's about to pass out. And we're really just having a bit of a time here. I do think that maybe I'll wrap up the wedding soon, and we'll let them go on home, and we'll have them consummate their marriage, because obviously they would want to go ahead and do that just to make things fully official, if you know what I mean. And obviously he's thinking to himself, like, I'm exhausted, I really am, and I really just need to go home and get some sleep. But also, like, I want to make things official. Oh, yes, we love that. Siobhan and Charles are close. Okay, we love that. So he definitely wants to go home and get some sleep, but he also wants to consummate their marriage, because, like, who wouldn't want to do that? So he's thinking to himself, like, there's so many things, like, I want to do on our honeymoon, and he doesn't want to obviously, like, ruin her honeymoon night. He wants things to go so well for them. And so he's thinking, like, let's go ahead and wrap up this wedding reception and get ourselves out of here. And she's like, okay, let's do that. So we're going to end this early, and we're going to let them get on home so that he can do a secret handshake with his brother. He's like, okay, I'm going to do the secret handshake with my brother. I'm going to go to the washroom, and then we're going to head on out of here. So everyone's going to go ahead and leave, and he's going to head on home as well. Everyone's going to head home. And then we'll get them home so that they can go ahead and do their honeymoon things that they need to do, because he does want her to have a nice honeymoon evening. And, you know, that's important to him, that she has a night to remember, so to speak. And so she's like, I'll meet you at home, honey. And he's like, that's fine. I just have to go to the washroom. And she's like, okay, I'll see you back at the house. So everyone's going to leave here. He's just going to take care of his bladder needs, and then we'll head him on back to the house as well. And then he is going to hopefully fulfill all of his bride's needs for the honeymoon, and they will consummate their marriage. And, you know, part of him is hoping that by doing so, they could potentially end up pregnant, because he's wanting a family. Like, he's watching his sister have these children, and he's thinking, like, a little bit enviously, I want that for me. And so he is hoping that something's going to come of that as well. So maybe, just maybe, that will be the case. So as you can see, everyone is heading off to the house here, and we will see you when they get back home. All right, so we have arrived back at the house, and we are just going to go ahead and take Joe in really quickly here. And it does look like he needs to get a little bit of rest. And, you know, I don't know. I really want him to consummate this marriage with her, but he is straight up shattered. On his way to the house, he did pass out once already. So I do think I need to get him just a little bit of rest. She's in there watching a little bit of television. She is not at all tired. So I don't know. Siobhan, why don't you get yourself to bed? Everyone kind of needs to get themselves to bed. Siobhan, you're going to have to come over here and get Edward. She's like, I need bed. But you need to get your son. He's in the middle of the sidewalk. She's like, okay, fine. Okay, great. Go get your baby and put him to bed, and then you can go to bed. She's like, why is my baby in the middle of the sidewalk in the first place? Well, that is the best question of the day, but I can't answer that for you. I really, really can't. But go get your child, put him in his bed, and then you can go to bed. Everyone's going to get a little bit of rest. Unfortunately, Charles did not get to meet his wife's honeymoon consummation of the marriage needs, because he came home and passed out, and she's gone to bed as well because she's exhausted too. But she's thinking, that's fine, we'll just get up early in the morning and we'll do what we need to do. And so hopefully she's not too upset, because, you know, she's just thinking to herself, he's exhausted and I'm exhausted, and it is what it is. But everyone has decided that they're going to have to go ahead and go on to bed, because they just can't function at this point. And so let's go ahead and let Siobhan tuck in little Edward, and then she's going to go off to bed, and I will see you in the morning when everyone wakes up. Okay, so it is the next morning, and as you can see, everyone has risen except for Joe. Joe is still asleep, but I am going to be getting him up post-haste. And we are going to have him go ahead and go to his bride, and he's going to approach her and just ask her if they can go ahead and try for a baby. consummate their wedding and all of that fun stuff, because it is very important to him that does take place. We're just going to first and foremost let him kind of get himself a little bit cleaned up here and use the washroom, because he's feeling a little bit grungy. And he's like, I don't necessarily want to approach her when I'm smelling like I'm smelling, because that's probably, a little bit frowned upon. So he's just going to take care of his needs a little bit, and then he's going to go ahead and approach her and see if they can go ahead and consummate their marriage and try for a baby. So that will be fantastic for them, and I'm super excited to see if something maybe comes of that. We are just going ahead and sending Matteo off to preschool, which is fantastic. We absolutely love that. And then we are going to be sending off Dean and Siobhan to work today, because both of them have work. So I do believe that while they're at work, we will be having probably Christina and Joe taking care of the children, if we're being completely honest. So we're just going to go ahead and have them go on in here and have a little bit of fun together, as married couples do. And then we will have her take a pregnancy test and see if anything happens and if she is possibly expecting. So that will be fantastic. Joe's like, where are you? She's like, I'm waiting on you to finish in the loo. He's like, okay, I'm coming. Come on. Let's do this. And of course, Dean has decided to go and use their ensuite. So you know what's going to happen is they're going to be in here having a little bit of a romp, and he's going to finish in that bathroom, and he's going to end up walking out on them, and everyone's going to be embarrassed. So we love that. I mean, that's just going to be great. Oh my goodness. All right, so they are having their very first woohoo. We love that for them. We are going to go ahead and see when they are finished if they are successful in this trying for baby, which is going to be great if they are. If not, I'm going to be a little bit sad, I'm not going to lie, because I am really hoping that Joe can go ahead and he can have himself a little one, because I really think that would make him super happy to have a child, because he's great with kids. He really is great with kids, and I could really see him having a child. So we are going to go ahead and have her go in here and take a pregnancy test and see how that pans out for her. And then after we find out the news, we will probably go ahead and leave this episode here. So let's go ahead and take her into the washroom and let her take this pregnancy test and see what these results are. And it looks like, no, she's not pregnant. Okay, well, we will have to try again. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and leave this episode here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you are notified when new episodes go live on the channel. And I will see you guys in the next episode of our Decades Legacy Challenge, where we will be continuing on with this family. And hopefully we will be able to get Joe and Christina pregnant. And we will be seeing what shenanigans our families get up to. And until next time, I'm going to go ahead and fly for now. Bye, Ravens.